Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Archie's Briefings. I'm your host, Arshel Branch, and I'm just really happy to be back to be able to do the podcast again, be back in front of the camera and the microphone. It's just really good to be back in this setting. But I just want to say thank you all to the new subscribers and just so happy that you guys are, contributing and participating and getting in the comments, sharing the videos, liking and everything. You guys can continue to do that so we can keep growing this channel. Very happy to have you guys here. Now, today, you guys, we are going to talk about Andrew Cuomo running for mayor. Now, this is quite personal for me because when Andrew Cuomo was the governor, we had a lot of problems. But the fact that this man believes that he has a chance at being the mayor of New York City is kind of outrageous to me. So that's what we're going to talk about, all the reasons for why this man should not be the mayor. The fact that he even thinks he has a shot at this is ridiculous to me. And we're going to cover all of that as to why that shouldn't be the case. Now, before we go ahead and do that, if you are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, hit that subscription button, okay? Also hit the bell so that you never miss an episode. Share the video, like the video, get into the comments because I want to be, I want this to be a huge conversation. It's not just me talking at the camera. I want you guys to share your views, your thoughts with me as well. So go ahead and get in the comments. And without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and let's talk about the ridiculous notion that Andrew Cuomo has a shot at being the New York City mayor. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's talk about that, shall we?
There is something that has been on my heart that I did want to discuss. Discipline is a huge part of being productive, being lucrative. I'm not for anything that goes against true productivity, true sovereignty of the individual. The choices that we make are what's going to be up for judgment.
All right, you guys. So as I said in the open, we're going to talk about Andrew Cuomo. Couple of things here. First of all, when he was the governor of New York during the time of COVID, he did not handle this well, like at all. He's been disgraced when he resigned. It's the reason for why New York actually has to contend with Governor Hochul. It's the reason why you're dealing with the congestion pricing because he was disgraced as a governor. Okay, he went away. Hochul came in, and a whole bunch of problems that came with the Wicked Witch of the East. But now this gentleman thinks that he has an opportunity, okay, to be the mayor of New York City. Now, apparently, there seems to be a lot of debacle going on with New York City politics, or just New York politics, period. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. When it was even a suggestion, Andrew Cuomo was thinking about announcing his run. I laughed this off. Okay. So obviously he's got a lot of problems when it comes to the sexual harassment claims. He's suing somebody for defamation on this. So there's just a lot of allegations about his sexual harassment. This was a so-called reason for why he went into resignation. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that the sexual harassment claims are pointless or that there isn't merit to any of the cases there, but let's call a spade. If you are someone who was in New York during the COVID times, my biggest problem with this man is how he handled COVID. So let's just talk about this man's background in dealing with the pandemic, okay? Because, again, it's not that the sexual harassment claims aren't credible. I don't know. That was not my thing. That as far as looking into him during that time, when those allegations dropped, it just seemed a bit suspicious to me, like as if they're trying to divert suspicion from his responsibility and his irresponsibility on how he dealt with the pandemic versus, him being a serial sexual harasser, allegedly. Now, the way he handled COVID, you guys, for starters, okay, he was told by President Trump in the first term, don't let the Chinese nationals in. Don't let these people who are sick with COVID into the state, okay? Don't let them in. Did he listen? No, he wanted to be a part of the resistance, okay? It was so important for him to show that he's got some backbone and that he could fight up against President Trump. So he resisted. He went against the order from the commander-in-chief and let sick people with COVID into the state, forcing the state to shut down, telling people that they were non-essential workers, myself being one of these non-essential workers, because, well, all I did was sell entertainment tickets, right? How am I essential to the state or to the city if all I do is sell Broadway tickets, right? That was the idea there. Oh, or Shelley, you're not essential. This man deliberately let sick people into the state, getting people sick, okay? And now society shuts down and we're supposed to be pretending about that this is okay. Now, before I go any further, you guys, because I got a lot to say just without even showing any clips, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you just a part of this man's announcement for him running for mayor, just so we have some context here. So let's go ahead and let's run that clip first, shall we? Okay, guys, this is the clip. Well, the full video of Andrew Cuomo talking about why he's running for office, that he is running for office, and why he's running, and all the rest of that. I'm not going to play the whole thing because really it's incredibly nauseating. So we're not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to play parts of it because really it's the first few minutes that really just kind of irked me when I saw this. I'm going to go ahead and run that. Okay, let's go ahead.
Hello, I'm Andrew Cuomo. Let me start by telling you what you already know. New York City is the greatest city in the world. There is no other place like it. And as in life, we have had times when we are at our shining best. And there are times when we struggle and endure great hardship.
Understatement.
But we also know that we can handle a crisis because we have. We recently did it together through COVID.
Okay.
And we know that the first...
I couldn't get past that part, you guys, when I first watched this. Okay, I couldn't get past it. I have still to this day, I have not finished this entire 17-minute announcement of why. Oh, I'm Andrew Cuomo and I'm running for mayor, and I approve this message. To hell with you, Cuomo. Like, are we? Yo, the fact that this man even thinks he has a chance. Who told this man that he has an opportunity here? Are you telling me that New Yorkers hate Mayor Adams so much that they are willing to put this man back into office like he wasn't disgraced? I'm not talking about the sexual harassment claims here. I'm talking about how we handled COVID. And then to say that, oh, New York has dealt with problems. We did face crises, that the most recent crises that we handled was COVID-19. Now, you guys, okay. He handled that so poorly. Like, is COVID so far behind us that we just don't remember who was responsible for putting us all at risk? Here, he's not the only governor who did this, okay? He's not the only Democrat governor who put people at risk. He's one of the governors. Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey is one of the governors who let sick people with COVID into the state, and people are surprised, okay? Surprised that they're deciding to shut things down, okay? He had a debacle with this woman named Janice Dean, who at the time was the weather woman for Fox News. Okay. And I am going to show you guys that clip, but I couldn't get past that part of this because it really annoyed the crap out of me. How dare you get into this camera and say that we handled a crisis and we can continue to handle them even further? New York's got problems and I'm the guy to solve it. You couldn't solve the COVID problem. You could have not let sick people into the state. You could have not shut down businesses. You could have not been responsible for the death of thousands of elderly people. And that's what takes us to the next part of this, you guys. I'm going to come out of this clip here because, again, I couldn't get past those few seconds. Look at that. 33 seconds into the video, I couldn't finish it because that statement in and of itself annoyed the crap out of me, right? We're so beyond COVID that we shouldn't be this outraged, but you should have not been running. Like, let me come out of this. Let me just come out of this. It's like, Andrew, did you really think that the people were going to get behind you on this? And the polls are showing that the people are, that he's polling better even than Eric Adams. And I'm kind of astounded at the short attention span. Okay. These Snapchat brains, Twitter attention spans that we don't remember so far back as COVID, on how this man handled that and put New Yorkers' lives, jobs, businesses at risk. He did such a poor job, people. The fact that people think that he even has a shot, that he thinks he has a shot, is outrageous to me. He was not there when the people needed him. He was not able to do the job the way that a real governor should be able to do that.
You're never there for me.
And so I'm just at this point, like, again, I laughed it off when they said that this man had a chance, that this man was going to consider throwing his hat in the ring for running for mayor. I just laughed it off. There's no way in hell this guy is going to run for mayor because, hello, you had this huge problem when you were the dang governor. Okay. I mean, the sexual harassment claims came after Janice Dean went after you for solely putting the elderly people at risk. The fact that this man, his decisions put the elderly people at risk. The man killed old people. Okay. He killed the elderly of New York. Not all of them, but 16,000 elderly people. That's a lot of elderly. Okay. That's a lot of living memory that is no longer with us because of his decisions. Like, is New York politics such in disarray that this man thinks that he can just come back and act like nothing happened?
I'll be back.
So the next clip I'm going to show you guys is a clip with Janice Dean. Again, this is a woman who used to work for Fox News. She was the weather woman. Okay. So you didn't go to her for politics. You didn't go to her for opinions about anything but the weather. That was it. Right. So we were dealing with crazy weather, hurricanes, tornado season. She was the one you wanted to listen to. She was not the person you went to again for opinions on politics. She was not that person. She was just a very lovely, happy warrior, right? That this just a lovely woman. I just thought she was great. But then she had her experiences with Governor Cuomo. He tried to silence her. He belittled her. Oh, she's just the weather woman, as if she didn't suffer any consequences to his decision making on how nursing homes are going to be treated, how the elderly were going to be treated. Never mind the fact that he put New Yorkers at risk when he undermined the authority of the president, which at the time was President Donald J. Trump, and let in COVID infected people into the state, risking the lives of every New Yorker. And we're supposed to forgive him for that. It's one thing for him to not be in the news because he's not running for office at all. Okay. But now you're running for office. You threw your hat in the ring and you're open for scrutiny here. So I'm going to show you guys the clip of Janice Dean at Capitol Hill. Okay. This was a year ago at Capitol Hill, where she goes into all the questions that those who suffered because of his bad policies, just breaking down all the questions that never got answered even after Cuomo got out of office, right? So let's go ahead and let's run that clip for you guys, shall we? Okay, you guys. So here is the woman, Janice Dean, who used to work for Fox News as the weather woman, and she's on Capitol Hill. This was a year ago. Okay, last year she had this hearing. Excuse me, in 2023, not last year. In 2023, she had this hearing. And she was talking about the suffering that her and her husband went through with his parents, her in-laws. So Cuomo's actions are responsible for the death of thousands of elderly, her in-laws included. And so I'm going to let her say her piece. Let's go ahead and let's run it, shall we?
Our grief and our confusion turned to anger in the days and weeks afterward when we learned how elder care homes were turned into death traps. Over 9,000 COVID-positive patients were piled into facilities for 46 days, and no one told the families. 3 years later, we still don't know why. Our former disgraced Governor Andrew Cuomo said more than once that COVID inside of nursing homes would spread like fire through dry grass. He knew the elderly were the most susceptible, and yet he let it happen. He lit the match and he set the fire. All of us here today would like to know the origins of where the March 25th order came from and why nursing homes were prohibited to test incoming patients. It's also worth mentioning that while care homes could not have access to tests, Andrew Cuomo's friends and family were secretly able to secure tests and use state resources to quickly find out the results. The other question we have never had answered is why weren't the facilities provided by the federal government ever used? There were thousands of empty beds in the Jacob Javits Center, the USS Comfort Ship, and other several ad hoc hospitals, while nursing homes were packed with sick people. It was recently revealed that a U.S. Navy admiral on board the Comfort Ship, quote, begged the Cuomo administration to send patients to the nearly empty hospital ship docked on the Hudson River during the height of the pandemic.
I'm going to leave it there, you guys. Okay, so what did we hear, right, Janice Dean? That someone gave the order to put sick patients, sick people with COVID, okay, sick people who had COVID-19 into the nursing homes, where Andrew Cuomo knew that if you put COVID patients into the nursing homes, that it would spread like wildfire and that it was going to cause problems. He knew this, and yet somehow someone, we don't know who, gave the order to have that happen. You're the governor of the state. You're the governor. And I'm supposed to believe that you didn't know who gave the order? You're the governor. And if someone made that decision, why didn't you hand them over to, at the very least, protect your reputation? You could have done that. He never offered up anybody. He never threw anybody under the bus, because chances are you're the one who gave the order, right? He did not allow certain patients to go to certain facilities that were provided to him by the president at the time. Again, you guys, it was President Donald J. Trump, okay? He provided resources to the states so that way they could take action to keeping their citizens safe. President Trump told them not to let in sick people into the state who had COVID. They ignored that and let them in anyway, putting everybody at risk. Cuomo did this, okay? You could have put your sick patients with COVID onto the Navy ship Comfort. You could have put them into the facilities that were provided to you by the federal government, not putting them into the nursing homes, where 16,000 elderly were killed because of this decision, okay? So he's elitist because he made sure that he, his family, and friends got tested and the results incredibly fast compared to everybody else. He did not care about the elderly. He didn't care about people, the little people like myself, who at the time were just selling Broadway tickets. I was a non-essential worker because you put my job at risk. You put the elderly at risk. You did that, Cuomo. And we're supposed to sit here and pretend like you should be running for mayor? That's enough for this clip right here. And I'm like, I hope Janice comes back out to try to stop this. Let's just stop this clip right now. I don't think New Yorkers should be taking this lightly. I don't think New Yorkers should be thinking that he's going to be better than Eric Adams. We shouldn't be thinking that at all, that somehow he thinks that he's going to be the good guy in all of this. No! If we're saying that New York's politics are in such disarray right now, that the man who is responsible for the death of 16,000 elderly New Yorkers, that this man should be the mayor and dealing with illegal criminals, that he should be the one to deal with the migrants who are committing crimes against our people. My biggest issue was not the sexual harassment allegations, okay? That was a distraction. What he's responsible for, what we know he's responsible for, is the killing of the elderly. And so are we saying that the Democrat Party is in so much disarray and in such chaos in the state of New York that this guy has an opportunity here? I'm like, yo, what is going on with this party that they think that this man has a shot? You guys are going to have to, help me out with this one, because to be frank, I don't have that much faith in New York to think that if Andrew Cuomo becomes a Democrat nominee, that they are not going to pick him over an independent, because they had the opportunity to do that when they could have voted for the guardian angel over Eric Adams. They chose Eric Adams because he was black, number one, and secondly, because he was a cop. Never mind the fact that he was a de Blasio pick. And you got the same damn thing. Now he's a puppet for America First, and we got a problem with that. We can't stand him so much, okay, that you're willing to choose Andrew Cuomo here. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need New York to get their bearings. COVID was not so long ago, people, that we just should forget who was responsible for this, okay? Fauci plays a huge part in this, okay? But when you look at the governors, how they handled this nonsense, it was Cuomo who put his citizens at risk when he decided to let COVID-infected patients into the state. It was Cuomo who, I believe, gave the order that said, put COVID-infected patients into the nursing homes, fully knowing that it was going to cause a lot of harm and that the elderly were the ones who are going to be most susceptible. It was Cuomo who allowed that to happen. Thousands of people are dead because of him. And he has the nerve to say, we know how to handle a crisis. Vote for me because I know how to handle a crisis. You're responsible for the death of thousands of the elderly. You are responsible for the loss of how many jobs, how many lives were changed because you decided to be a part of the resistance against President Trump, that you did not use the facilities that he offered you to protect your people, his people, our people. You let your people die, Cuomo. Our people. What are you doing here? Why do you think you have a shot? If New York dares to put that man into the mayor's position, you deserve every horrible thing you're going to have happen to you. Every horrible thing. Okay? People are dying out here. When the Democrats say that they want to resist against America First, that they want to resist putting the people first, people die. Like literally, this is not me being hyperbolic. This is real, okay? When New York prioritized illegal aliens, a woman was burned to death on the train. This was Hochul. That shortly after she comes out and says the trains are safe, someone gets burned alive. Women are being assaulted by illegals. Men are being killed by illegals. When you decide that you're going to prioritize the criminals, businesses suffer, people suffer, elderly suffer. These are lives, real people lives, okay? So these activists out here, these governors who say that they want to go against America First, I'm ready to see some accountability because like Janice Dean said, there was never any accountability for what Cuomo had done. He's responsible for the death of thousands of New Yorkers who are elderly. They're not getting their lives back. She's not getting her in-laws back. Problematic. You guys get in the comment sections. I'm fed up that this guy is even an option. You guys, when I saw his announcement pop up in my YouTube feed, okay, I was enraged. Who the hell do you think you are that you think you can just come back after all this time and say you're the guy that New York needs? And if y'all vote for this man, okay, I'm telling every New Yorker who comes across this episode, okay, if you vote for him, you deserve every horrible thing that comes to you. because COVID was not so long ago that you can't remember his actions. He is responsible for the death of the elderly in that state, 16,000. And this is not me saying to be hyperbolic. It is true. He knew it was going to be a problem and he did it anyway. Why? Because he didn't care. He prioritized himself and his friends. He was elitist. He didn't care about human life. He didn't care about the value of what the work that we did, whether you're the person who sells Broadway tickets or you're the person writing the regulations for the state itself. He does not care. This man should not be the mayor. New Yorkers, you need to not vote for this man if he beats Eric Adams. Eric should be the guy you go for. I think we just all know that. You guys get in the comment sections and let me know what you think about this, because I'm fed up. I'm furious, okay? Andrew Cuomo was not a thought in my mind when I think about getting justice for COVID, okay? It was all about Fauci. I was not thinking about Cuomo. He should have stayed, kept his head in the sand, stayed out of it. New York's in disarray. Its politics are in disarray. Stay out of it. No one's asked you. No one wants you. And if, at least I don't. I can't speak to any other New Yorker. You know, I live in Pennsylvania. He's not my governor. Not anymore. But this is enraging. You guys get in the comments and let me know how you feel about Andrew Cuomo running for mayor. Whether you're in New York or not in New York, listen, Tiffany Henyard was not my mayor, right? But I still had some things to say about her too. So you guys let me know. What do you think about this? Because this is outrageous to me. Thank you all again for watching. Love to be back in front of the camera and doing the podcast. I'm very, very excited about that. Share this video, like this video, because I want to grow this conversation, because I'm going to keep my eye on this New York politics situation. It was fascinating and interesting to watch. Now it's just pissing me off. And, I don't want to be angry about it, but yeah, I'm pissed. So, anyway, love you guys. Love to have you guys like this video, share this video. God bless. Good night and Kepla, guys.